Climate change was top of the agenda at Hybu Cig Cymru Meat Promotion Wales' annual conference. This year, Hybu Cig Cymru came to Venue Cymru in Llandudno to give North Wales farmers the chance to hear from Hybu Cig Cymru staff and other expert speakers. Rhys Roberts, Hybu Cig Cymru's chairman, opened the conference by welcoming delegates and explained the work Hybu Cig Cymru was doing to combat global warming.
It's sometimes claimed that we in the agriculture are taking no action to combat climate change. That is wrong. For example, we are, as Hybu Cig Cymru, at the forefront of research into ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Our demonstration farms are trying out the latest farm technology. Our marketing efforts are continuing to build on the high quality image of our produce. We are drafting a climate change roadmap which sets out the steps that we in the Welsh industry are taking to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we are cooperating with the meat promotion agencies to share best practice on a global scale.
Hybu Cig Cymru Industry Development Manager Sean Aaron Jones gave a review of the work that HCC was doing to help farmers and the climate change roadmap that was being developed. He was followed by Hybu Cig Cymru's marketing manager Bill Joyce, who talked about some of the recent anti-meat news reports and the growing recognition of Welsh lamb.
I thought on the theme of climate change I'd start off with this one. And if you can't read the headline, it's from the Daily Telegraph a week ago, and it says, "Want to save the planet, start by eating your dog." Now this makes about as much sense as some of the other media stories about reducing meat consumption in recent weeks.
The first of the guest speakers at the conference was Dr. Martin Hodson, a visiting researcher in environmental biology at Oxford Brookes University. He gave a presentation about the role of agriculture in climate change and said that while there may have been an unfair burden placed on red meat producers recently, everyone would have to do their bit to cut global warming.
We've already heard the UK government, in common with many other governments, is thinking of 80% carbon emissions reductions by 2050. That is a big target. That's not a small target. But I don't see any reason why the meat industry or any other industry or any other part of agriculture should bear more of that than any other particular sector.
Among the speakers at this year's conference was one of Hybu Cig Cymru's scholarship winners. Mark Jones gave a presentation on his trip to New Zealand, and he talked about how he thinks the Welsh meat industry will need to adapt in the future.
I think it's vital that we try and produce the lamb the market requires, so whether this is choosing the breeds specifically for the job, or we're actually looking to improve those breeds through the use of genetics. I also think the use of forage systems and forage crops in the future is going to be vital. As mentioned before, I don't think we're going to be able to survive on concentrates as the population is going to grow or double in the future, so I think we're going to be relying on forage alone in the future. And again, these forage systems hopefully you reduce labour from them and reduce cost of production. And then finally, I think it's very important that through the use of the abattoirs that we find as many diverse markets as possible. More places would want our lamb, hopefully the higher the prices we're going to be getting at the end of the day.
The keynote speaker at this year's conference was the Rural Affairs Minister Elin Jones. She urged the delegation at Venue Cymru to get more actively involved in the climate change debate.
Don't feel threatened by celebrity photo calls advocating meat-free Mondays. Comfort yourselves with the fact that celebrities, just like politicians, come and go. The farmers and the consumers are the ones you need to focus on. They are the ones who will be there much longer. My advice on how you respond to anyone who advocates meat-free Mondays is to shout very loudly that Tuesdays to Sundays can therefore be Welsh meat days.
The final speaker at this year's conference was Ed Garner from TNS World Panel, who talked about market trends. He said that despite the recession, consumers were returning to quality brand products such as Welsh lamb.
And the first thing to say is the recession, is it ending? Well, in food, I think there are signs that it is, because at the end of the day, food is still cheap despite food price inflation we've seen. And therefore it wasn't the first thing to cut back on. I mean, get your wife not to buy another handbag in a recession, but don't cut back on food.
A full-length video of Dr. Martin Hodgson's presentation can be found on the Hybu Cig Cymru website, and all the presentations from this year's speakers are also available to download.